Hello, welcome to the Citrus Garden. If you're new here, my name is Christina. If you're not new here, hi, it's good to see you. So this is a reading for Libra rising, or if you have significant Libra placements in your chart and are needing a neutral energy to harmonize or balance the feminine and masculine energies within yourself, then this reading is for you. That is a mouthful. I feel like I should find a better way of phrasing that, but for now we'll just keep it. So Libra, we're going to start off with the overall context of your reading. So we're starting off here. I feel like there's this really interesting thing happening in your reading where like I was drawn to pull almost like there's a separation between you and something that you're wanting to come together with, whether that be like a person or an opportunity, like an experience, whatever it is. Like you're trying to manifest something, whatever it is. And you have all of this gorgeous energy with Luathis the Wild and the Ecstasis, like something that you're very excited about, very passionate about, perhaps like some sort of project or whatever it is. But there is kind of like, it's almost like you're being kept from it. It's kind of how it's coming through today. Like I had to pull a whole other spread for what that other thing is from a different deck, meaning I feel like right now your energies are not a match, and we're going to talk about why that is. But it's kind of like the thing that you're trying to go towards, or there's this energy within you with the Death card, the Mick the Myomancer, and the Fairy who's kissed by the Pixies. So what I'm seeing with this, the Death card, right? It kind of feels like an ending, of course, but it's more so talking about there's some sort of like shroud that's perhaps preventing you from seeing the bigger picture is kind of how I'm reading this, because what's interesting about these two cards, the Make the Myomancer talks about like small like micro events, right? Like the movement of mice can sometimes reflect much bigger movements, like the movements of planets, for example. That's like usually how this card comes through. But because of the numbers here with the 42, where is it? 42 and 21. This is sort of like it's like this is the zoomed in picture, right? And it's kind of like what I feel like is happening for you, Libra, is that you may be zooming too close into a certain thing, right? Like perhaps reading too much into the signs or reading too much into whatever, like your microscope is too fine-tuned, like it's too zoomed in, if that makes sense. And so because of that, because it's too close, you're not seeing what the actual story is or what the actual image or whatever it is kind of how this is feeling. And so if you zoom out a little bit, what you'll actually see is this, the Fairy who's kissed by the Pixies, which is talking about all of the love that's given is returned to you, right? So it's a very like reciprocal, positive love energy. Sorry, my dog's snoring in the background if you can hear that. So what this is saying is that if your focus might be too zoomed in is kind of how this is feeling. And so if you pull back to see the bigger picture, right? Like you loosen your focus, right? It's almost like making your eyes blurry. If you've ever tried that, the actual picture becomes clear is kind of how this is feeling like. So that's the overall context of your reading. And I feel like there's so much here, but I'm just going to talk about it like throughout the reading. I always pull so many cards for the bottom of the deck. I don't know why, but anyways, so we're starting here with the Hunter. This is the first card out. This is absolutely your energy because it's all of this sort of passionate movement forward, right? You are absolutely going towards something that you love or that you're passionate about, that kind of thing. You have a lot of drive forward is kind of how this is feeling. However, there's this energy here of Faf the Footer, which is kind of like, I sometimes see this card as like, if you think about like a fruit fly and they just like get knocked by a gust of wind. So it's kind of like you have all this momentum forward, but then you're stopped. Your momentum is stopped by some sort of other energy is kind of how it's feeling like, or it's like your guide's telling you to stop, or you suddenly lose a lot of momentum or whatever it is, right? It's like this is sort of like taking a break kind of energy. but I feel like it's not what you want to be doing, right? You want to be moving forward. You want to be doing all of this like stuff, like using all of this passion and drive that you have, but it's like, it's almost like you are being stopped, which is really interesting, because I feel like that's what you're perhaps not seeing. The bigger picture is like why that's happening, and like these are the cards coming out to explain that. Is kind of how this is feeling. The Kairos, which to me talks about divine timing, cycles of time, all of that. I feel like it's not time yet, is kind of how this is feeling, which I know is such a frustrating message to hear. It feels like it's not time yet. And then you have here the Ring, the Venom, and the Lover, which is so interesting, because it's like this Ring and the Lover is what it is that you're trying to get to, right? Whatever that is, whether it's a person or like a job, or it's like this new cycle, right? With the Ring, it's a new cycle, a new commitment, something that you are absolutely passionate about, something that you love, or someone it could be. But what's in between here is the Venom, which is like really interesting because this is the thing that you're not seeing, is kind of how this is feeling. There's something about this energy, whatever it is, that has a venom attached to it for some reason. I feel like it's not the thing itself, right? It's not the actual thing or the person itself. It's some sort of external influence around that person or opportunity or whatever it is. Something external to the thing or person, opportunity that you're wanting to move towards, right? And it's like, this is the thing that you're being kept from. It's not this, because this is all really lovely energy. You're being kept apart from this, and at the moment these two are together, or it's like they're attached, right? There's an attachment to this. So it's like you're not being kept from the thing that you want. You're being kept from the venom that you don't want. And there's all of this very spiritual energy that's coming in almost as like a protection with the Fawn, because the Fawn talks about sort of like natural cycles of time, natural magic as well. It's like you have absolutely some sort of natural magic, and it's like you are very powerful at manifestation, is kind of how this is feeling. Like it, because I'm kind of getting the vibe that like you, Libra, you're very, very good at manifesting, is kind of how this is feeling. But it's kind of like, because of this situation where it's like you're trying to manifest something and it's just not happening or it's not working, it's because this is something that you're not manifesting. You're not wanting this, absolutely. So it's like you're being kept from it because there's something here that needs to be cleansed, is kind of how it's feeling. It needs to be removed. All right, Libra, so your energy is really, really gorgeous. What we have here is the Sun, the Queen of Wands, the Eight of Pentacles. So this is all of your energy. It's so bright. It's so, perhaps like happy, satisfied, that kind of thing. But it's just like, it's very, very powerful manifestor, is kind of how I'm seeing this. Because the Queen of Wands, it's kind of like when you snap your fingers, things just happen, is kind of how this is feeling. Especially with the Eight of Pentacles and the Sun, right? It's like you're a very powerful creator, is kind of how I'm seeing this. And I feel like there's almost this thing here with the Queen of Wands and the Eight of Pentacles of like trying to prove to yourself or to the universe that you are capable of handling this, is kind of how this is feeling. Like you're pulling off a lot of interesting things, let's say, to prove to yourself, almost to like allow this manifestation to come in quicker, right? Because it's like, this is the one thing that perhaps you're meeting like a barrier or something like that. It's like all of your other manifestations are coming in, but it's like this one thing is not happening. And it's like trying to almost like bring more magic into the situation to prove to the universe or to yourself that you can do this. And it's like, I feel like it's that's the too narrow of a focus, because what it's saying is that I feel like you're too focused on manifesting this thing, that if you were to take a step back from it, you would see that because all of your previous manifestations have been so successful, this one obviously is going to be as well. But the thing, because you're too focused on that, it's like you're not seeing this aspect. And it's like your guides, or like this energy, whatever this is protecting you from it, right? Because you do have the Unity card. You are moving towards this, but it's because this manifestation has something attached to it that's not favorable to you. That's the only reason why it hasn't come in yet, right? That's the only reason why. And it's kind of like, well, why is that? Like, what is this venom? And again, it's not going into specifics, because of course that's going to be different for each of you. But what I'm seeing here, because you have this combination of cards with the Five of Cups and the Five of Wands. So both of these are change, right? So I feel like there is absolutely change happening to eliminate whatever this venom is kind of how this is feeling. And with the She of the Cruet, because these are all fives. So how I'm seeing this, because you also, at the bottom of the deck, I'll talk about this first, sorry. Bottom of the deck, you have the Magician, Three of Cups, Page of Swords, and the Wheel of Fortune. So there is absolutely a lot of change and manifestation happening. I just feel like you're not seeing that because it's not immediately present in your environment, but it's kind of like it's working from a distance is kind of how I'm seeing this. With the Three of Cups, I feel like there's some sort of ending happening on the other side, is kind of like on the side of the manifestation. Whatever this venom is being removed. But anyway, it's like, okay, so the reason why you're perhaps not seeing it is because, especially with this Five of Cups, I sort of see this as like a magician, like this magician energy trying to manifest something, but it's like you put all of your energy in and nothing has come out of this well, is kind of how this is feeling. So it is putting a drain on your energy to some extent. And with the Five of Wands, how I'm actually seeing this though, because the She of the Cruet came out, these are all fives. This She of the Cruet talks to me about like almost like a wishing well, right? It's like you put all of your wishes or intentions into it and your manifestations happen almost immediately. This is your energy, absolutely. So it's like you are incredibly powerful at manifesting, that it's almost like every sort of intention or wish that you put into this wishing well is immediately manifested in some way, right? So it's kind of like, because this energy that you're being kept from has some sort of venom attached to it, you're being kept from it because if you were to put that venom into this wishing well, it would manifest the venom, right? You would get a manifestation of the venom in your experience, which is not something that you want. And that's why you're being kept from it. So it's kind of like, but I feel like even from a distance, right? Even from a distance, there is this sort of clearing out of whatever this energy is. The Star card coming out next, because it's kind of like you are attached to it. You do have the Unity card, which means that I feel like there are like sort of universal forces that are bringing the two of you together, or you and this other thing, whatever it is, whoever it is, you are being brought together. You are attached to it, but there is the separation because of what's happening on their end or on the other side, is kind of how this is feeling. So we are going to talk about what that is. I feel like there is this, I feel like there's awareness on the other side as well. So I'm going to say it's a person. I'm going to say it's a person just for ease of my message delivery. I'm going to say it's a person just to make it easier. So if this is the other person, they're coming through. Again, I had to switch decks completely because I don't know. Anyway, so this one is the Protective Nest and the Sea Witch. So I feel like to some extent they know this about like their situation, right? It's like, so if it's a person, they know that there's something about their energy that if they were to bring that into your space, it wouldn't be beneficial to you. Is kind of how this is feeling, Libra. So there is a sort of element here of protection with the Sea Witch. This card is so interesting. The card, and it was coming through with such an interesting message. If you watched the show Kim Possible, it's something I watched when I was a kid growing up. Kim Possible. There's this one storyline. One of the villains, whose name is Gil, he goes swim. He's a normal teenager as well, and then he goes swimming in like this like toxic swamp, and because he goes swimming in that swamp so often, he actually mutates into this like a sea creature is kind of how this is feeling. The Sea Witch. So there's something here. I'm not saying at all that your person or whatever it is this, but it's kind of like they're in an environment, right? Like a swamp or something where there's a lot of toxins. And so it's like they're protecting you, or you're being protected from this swampy environment, because if they were to, it's almost like if they were to come into your space with all of the toxins that they're carrying from their environment, it would turn you into a sea creature. I have no idea what that means. Anyways, okay, and then the Red Garden is, like, I always talk about this card as almost like a warning, like not a warning. It doesn't feel like dangerous or anything like that. It doesn't feel like anything that's like physically, it's not a physical threat is kind of how this is feeling. It feels much more like emotional or watery or energy based, right? It's not a physical danger or threat or toxin, if that makes sense. And so with the Red Garden, it's just talking about like there's distance, because it's like this one has like, I don't know. The words that are coming through are very strong and intense. Like it's like radioactive waste is kind of what it's feeling like. I take that if it resonates. Again, it's an energy. It's not actual, like a physical kind of thing. It's not literal. Anyways, I'm just going to leave it there because it's a lot. But the good news is that I feel like there is a change, that whatever it is that your efforts have been, it's like this. Because I feel like for this card with the Five of Cups, it's kind of like, this is the too zoomed in picture. You're not seeing the full picture. Meaning, I feel like what you're seeing right now is that all of the cups that you're pouring into this situation are just going to waste, but they're not. What it is, it's like on the other side, all of this energy is helping to clear that toxin from a distance is kind of how it's feeling. So your energy is being used to clear the swamp is kind of how it's feeling. But because you're not in the swamp, you can't see the effects that it's having is kind of how this is feeling. Okay. And then here, what you have here is like the Journey and the Secrets card. So again, it feels kind of like, I feel like this is the other energy, because it's kind of like here, especially with the sea creature, because these are all very sort of young looking energies. So it could be some sort of like inner child healing. I always say that whenever there's like child imagery that comes in, but it kind of feels like it's like this one is getting a detox from whatever this poisonous swamp energy is. So extreme. I don't know why the messages come through like that. And it's like they're being reborn, so to speak, in this energy. With the Journey here, I feel this is sort of kind of like they're taking it slowly, or they're being told to take it slowly, especially with the deer, because it's kind of like when deers are first born, their legs are still wobbly, right? So it's kind of like perhaps tempering themselves or just taking things slowly. With the Secrets here, I feel like this is a really interesting energy as well, because I feel like it has something to do with getting the solution, because it's like they're wherever it is that they're in now, it's like they're getting a detox from that swamp energy, but in a sense they're still in the swamp, if that makes sense. They're not being affected by the toxin as much, maybe, but they're still in that environment. And so it's like they're needing to find a way out of that environment because you can't go to where they are, right? So I feel like with the secrets, it's something about like they're having to find the solution out of this. And it's kind of like perhaps they're not seeing it because this energy kind of feels like sleepwalking, right? They haven't quite unlocked it, even though they have the key. They have the key within them in order to do so. And then this abracadabra, which is so interesting because if you look at these numbers here, because these are obviously very similar kind of energies, but it's kind of like this is the child, this is the adult version, maybe. But with the numbers here, the 43 and the 34, it's kind of like a mirrored reflection. It's kind of how this is feeling. So it's like there's something here about they have the solution, but they're not seeing how to put that into action yet, perhaps. Or it's like they haven't quite figured out how to work this mechanism or work this device, or if it's not like a device, it's like they haven't quite figured out how to unlock the doorway into this other place where I feel like you, Libra, are in this abracadabra, right? You are absolutely very powerful at manifesting, just like kind of like with the snap of your finger. And then this one here is kind of, because it's mirrored, it's like they're on the other side. They're trying to get they're trying to get the wisdom or the knowledge that you have. It's like they have to learn how to do this before they can get to, in order to cross to your side, in order to get to you, they have to learn how to unlock this door, unlock the mirror for themselves is kind of how this is feeling. So it's kind of like for you, Libra, I feel like what it is that you're doing here with the star, you are absolutely attached to this energy or this person already, but it's kind of like at a distance. And it's like all of the energy that you're putting in is going towards something. I feel like it's up to you whether or not you continue to do that. But it's kind of like telling you that there is, if you zoom out a little bit, if you move, I don't know what that means, but energetically, perhaps just like detach or just like make, when you like make your eyes blurry so that you can see things in a different way. Like you unfocus your eyes, right? There's something about that. If you unfocus, especially because here her dress looks like it's like shimmery or glittery or something like that. There's something about becoming unfocused on what it is that you're doing. It allows you to see the bigger picture. Anyways, Libra, I'm gonna end the message there. I'm gonna move to the extended. We're gonna talk about what else you need to know about this situation. If you're interested in that, link is in the description box below. If this message resonated with you, please consider subscribing, liking, or leaving a comment. Thank you so much for sharing your energy with me, and I will see you in the next one. Have a great day.